Okay guys, tonight we've got a 600 point bat rep of good versus evil. There are two potential GT army lists for me. So I'm going to be controlling the dwarves tonight. It's a very simple list. It is 3 Iron Hills captains and 30 Iron Hills dwarves. Nice and simple. And Nathan is going to be on the evil team, and he's going to be using 3 Gundabad captains with shield, 12 berserkers, and 24 Gundabad's, 12 of each with a banner. Obviously we've got Azog and Bolgan here, but that's just so we can differentiate the captains, and to be honest they look quite cool. We'll come back when we roll for scenario and deployment. Okay, so here we are after deployment. It's essentially just a very big long line of dwarfs versus Gundabads. We've got my general here, he's going to be the one with the cloak overlapping his shield a little bit. And the Gundabads have just retaliated. We've got not Bolg and his friends out on the flank, just out of 5 inches, but well within 8. And the scenario is to the death. So the advantage is with the Gundabads at the moment because they've got a banner. So we'll come back after this turn. So here we are after turn 1 movement. Nathan won priority and the Gundabads have just smashed into the side. I've done a little bit of counter movement to try and level the fights, but he's always going to get the first hit in that situation. And then the lines have just clashed, so it's going to be a fairly bloody turn one way or another. So let's see how it unravels. Okay, a very topsy-turvy first turn of combat. This side of the dwarfs absolutely massacred the Gundabads. And as we went round, it's sort of a bit of a stalemate. And then the Gundabads have done what they do best. They've absolutely smashed that side. Also, the Gundabad captain heroic struck, and I chose not to, and he took a wound, but I saved it with my fate. As for the kill tallies, it's 4 dwarfs down and a fate point to 6 Gundabads and a berserker. But you know, where they've lost the numbers, the flank is pretty much entirely collapsed with all of these Gundabad berserkers waiting. So we'll come back after movement next turn. Here we are after the second turn of movement. Nathan managed to win priority again, so I'm not having a very good time with all of my tactical awareness rolls. And what's essentially happened is all the Gundabad berserkers have just swarmed around these poor lonely dwarves, and he retreated this flank, so we've essentially all just doing a bit of a spin. But there's a couple of cheeky heroic combats lined up down here. I think Bol's looking at doing one, and I've placed a captain in there somewhere to hopefully do the same. There he is on this end here. So this is going to be quite an important turn, I think, so let's see who wins these rolls. Okay, it was a fairly grisly round of combat. The Gundabads did particularly well. The Gundabad berserkers have done exactly what they were supposed to. All that's left of this side is this poor captain, who won his combat and then double 1 to wound, which isn't great. The fighting is still thick in the middle, and my flank is winning over here, but it's only soft targets really. In that turn, we managed to topple a mighty Gundabad and 2 berserkers. Unfortunately for me, Nathan is ploughing his way through these dwarfs, so we'll come back after movement. So here we are at the end of the movement phase, and the lines have just disappeared now. We've got the captain up here looking for a cheeky heroic combat, and then there's literally just Gundabads and dwarfs everywhere. The berserkers came round the flank and hit the dwarves. The dwarfs then came back and hit the berserkers. Let's hope this one isn't as bad for the dwarfs as the last turn was. And what a turn that was. The dwarfs have definitely rallied. We lost 2, unfortunately. We lost 2 poor guys. However, that 2 is in retaliation to that mound of dead, which I've just zoomed in on far too much. Oh. This is quality stuff. Yeah, answering back to 4 Gundabad berserkers and 5 Gundabads. Incredible. I think the Gundabads are now broken. However, it is still all to play for. There is still a lot of Gundabad berserkers left, and there isn't a lot of dwarves. We'll go into priority, I think, turn 5. So here we are after movement phase again, and we've almost done a full wheel now. All the Gundabad berserkers have smashed in again, wrapped around a little bit with some Gundabad warriors, and the dwarfs have then countercharged again. We've got the general, who is Azog, and the banner sort of hiding safely behind the lines, but also about to wreak a bit of chaos on a poor captain that's found himself isolated. And Just general 2-on-2s across the line still. However, both sides are starting to thin. Let's see what this combat brings. Okay, this really is the game that keeps on giving. My general was taking a wound against a solo Gundabad warrior. One of my captains has fallen, along with 4 other poor dwarves, to I think it was 3 Gundabads. Nathan is now broken. I'm on my break point, so I'm hoping for a really unlucky turn for Nathan. So here we are, and the melee continues. Nathan successfully called a heroic move to keep his leaders here. Unfortunately, the Gundabad captain did flee. Felt he had killed enough dwarfs for today. And we've all just mishmashed in. Other than that, I think this is the turn where someone's going to get quartered. So this is most likely last turn. There's no mic left on the table, so it's all down to the combats that are here already. Not quite last turn. It's a really gruelling battle. We've just had priority and Nathan's won again, and both his heroes have remained in the fight. I am now broken. What was quite funny was a dwarf managed to flank and hit this bannerman, who proceeded to win the fight and kill that dwarf, breaking me. So I think man of the match is currently the bannerman. We'll be back after movement. So here we are after movement. I'm sure you're wondering where Nathan's general and banner are. Where are they, Nathan? Oh, look at this. They're fleeing for points in a shocking twist of tournament-style play. He's going straight for the VPs. So, let's go into combat. Another topsy-turvy turn. I spent a lot of the time trying to shield in hoping to get another turn, and it has worked. However, I am fast running out of dwarfs to these 200 piercing strikes. We're going into priority now, and I'm really hoping that Azog runs away. And here we are after movement again. Unfortunately, Nathan won priority, and they are sitting pretty back at Ravenhill, watching it all blow over. We're both very near quarters. This will surely be the last turn. So here we are at the end of the battle. It was fiercely fought and quite close until the end. The final score was in fact 4-3 to the Gundabads because of one Gundabad warrior beating a dwarf captain in combat, a heroic combat, and then winning him. So how do you think the Gundabads did in that game?
Incredibly well, yes, yeah. I like the two-handed piercing strike, the 8-inch movement to get around the back of the dwarves. Yeah, I want a Gundabad army.
Yeah, it was always going to be a flanking game. I mean, in the first couple of turns, the dwarf warriors chewed through the Gundabads, and it was looking like a rollover. But by turn 2, all of the Gundabads were behind the line, and as you said, when you trap in 200 piercing strike, you can win them on 3s. It's just filth, really, isn't it?
Yes.
And then having a banner into the death is always a really good one as well.
Yeah.
I think the Iron Hills are good. I'm taking it to the GT anyway, because I think it'll be quite funny. We did work out at one point in the game that with Master of Battle from Azog's Legion and the 3 tactical awarenesses from the Iron Hills, we could potentially have 5 heroic combats going off with the expending of 1 might point if everything was rolled correctly, which I thought was quite funny. It didn't manage to pull it off this time. I think my tactical awareness was a bit rubbish, purely because Nathan kept winning priority, so I couldn't call anything. But yeah, very good game, very close, but the Gundabads clinched it in the end. Thanks for watching. We'll get back with another one soon.